You might be wondering, why does the thumbnail say stop coding? I know, maybe you are learning to code to land that dream job, or perhaps you just want to build a website or app and make some cash. But hold up for a second. Let's face it, we've all been there. Endless tutorials, countless hours grinding on lead code, and still feeling like we're not making real progress. This, my friends, is what we call tutorial hell. Some people say it's 2024 and you can just open YouTube, binge watch a ton of videos and poof, you're a developer. Nope. Sorry to burst that bubble, but no one actually became good at programming by just watching these videos. You only see less than 5% of reality on the internet, but our brain perceives it as absolute reality. That's why when you see a "How I Got a Job at Google in 3 months" video, it can make you feel depressed. You even jump from one thing to another without actually understanding anything. The time you spend jumping between tutorials is time wasted. Now, I'm not saying to totally abandon coding altogether, but it's time to rethink its place in the development process. You might be thinking, but I'm learning to code. Isn't that productive? Well, not exactly. And here's why. There's this thing called the 80-20 rule, also known as the Pareto principle. It says that roughly 80% of results come from 20% of efforts. In web development, this translates to the idea that 80% of your project's success comes from 20% of your efforts. And here's the kicker. Most of that crucial 20% isn't even coding. This means that while coding is important, it's not everything. In fact, obsessing over code might be holding you back. What you're going to code, someone has already created a boilerplate for. So it's not the code you need to focus on, it's something else, the vital 20%. So what should you focus on? Let's break it down. You might have seen this meme over the internet. It is supposed to be funny, but inside you know you want to finish that unfinished project that you are building, and somewhere in the middle you lose the enthusiasm. The main reason for this is you get stuck because you don't know where to go, left or right. This is the lack of idea of what you are building. This includes set clear goals. Before you write a single line of code, you need a solid plan. What do you want to build? Why? Time box your learning to just 20% of your dev time, outlining key features and functionalities. You can use Notion or Excalibur to write the flow of your entire system. I do that all the time. Or to be more productive, write it down on a piece of paper. You have the goals written down and now you know what you need. Create flow diagrams. This is a game changer. When you have a visual roadmap, you'll never get stuck wondering what's next. The next step is the user experience design. Most front-end developers are just coders who know HTML and CSS. But here's a secret. You don't need to be a UX expert. Just trust your gut on what looks good. There's an entire field called color theory, but you unconsciously know what works. To prove my point, I'll give you some website examples. Pick the one you think converts better. If you pick the one on the left, you know what you are doing. The one on the right is overwhelming and might make you leave the site, while the left one feels more connected to you. You just need to flip that switch in your brain. Once your plan is in place, it's time to think about the user experience. This is where you start designing how your users will interact with your website. Users come to your website with a specific goal in mind. They want to find information, purchase a product, or complete a task. Your job is to make this process as seamless as possible. Start by understanding who your users are. What are their needs, preferences, and pain points? If you're building a page, the main hero section of the website should give a clear picture. For example, if you see a website like this, you'll instantly know, oh, it's about this. But with a website like this, you'll be left thinking, what the heck is this? This is your user flow. A well-designed user flow ensures that your users can easily navigate your site and achieve their goals without unnecessary friction. Now the important part, most web developers are not designers, so they think I will design while building, and this is the wrong approach. You can take inspiration from sites like Dribbble and Behance. Before you jump into coding, create wireframes, basic layouts of your website's pages. This will help you visualize the structure of your site and make sure everything is in the right place. You can then turn these wireframes into prototypes, which are more detailed and interactive versions of your wireframes. Prototyping allows you to test and refine the user experience before development begins. Also, you have to use your ultimate tool. Ctrl-C, Ctrl-V. Copy the ideas that work. Just like when someone on Twitter started selling code boilerplates, now everyone wants to sell a boilerplate. Choosing the right tech stack. HTML, CSS, and JavaScript are great, but let's be real, they're not enough to build a competitive website now. You need a framework like Next.js, Angular, or Vue.js. Here's a pro tip. If you're comfortable with one framework, stick with it. There are many websites built with Next.js serving millions of people, and Angular is pretty solid too. The tech stack you choose can make or break your project, so it's essential to approach this decision thoughtfully. But if you are comfortable in one framework without a second choice, pick it. Web development is cluttered right now. There are more frameworks than developers. Each day a new JavaScript framework pops up. Just pick one that's active and stick with it. No user will care about your framework. When choosing your tech stack, ask yourself, what type of project am I building? A small personal blog might require a different stack than a large e-commerce site or a dynamic web app. What are the performance requirements? Some frameworks are known for speed and efficiency, while others might offer more flexibility at the cost of performance. What are the development timelines? Consider how quickly you need to get your project off the ground. Some frameworks are quicker to implement but might limit customization later on. It's important to think about not just what your project needs today, but what it might need tomorrow. A technology that works well for a small project might struggle under the demands of a larger one. Even the most powerful tech stack can become a liability if it's difficult to maintain. Choose technologies that are known for stability and have a strong community or commercial support. This will make it easier to fix bugs, implement updates, and add new features over time. I stick to Next.js because it has almost everything a developer needs, and the community is broad enough that when you encounter an issue, some developer might have already solved it. When you jump straight into coding without a plan, you've already lost the game. It's tempting, I know. You're excited about your new project and want to see it come to life. But trust me, this approach will set you up for unnecessary challenges. Without a clear plan, it's easy to lose direction. You might end up building features that don't align with your original goals, or worse, create something that doesn't serve your users at all. Great things take time, so don't be in a hurry. Yes, it will take time. This lack of direction can lead to a scattered, inconsistent product that fails to deliver value. Learn by doing, not just watching. Imagine this. You watch an 8-hour course on creating a Reddit clone. The instructor is typing code and you're just watching. So cool, right? You think you're learning, but in reality, you're just procrastinating. Here's the truth bomb. You actually learn something when you implement it. Take webhooks, for example. You might know what they are, but do you really know how they work? So you try implementing them. I want to add a user's payment to my database when they pay. Okay, I check the docs. Stripe has webhooks for this. Wait, if anyone can send a webhook request to my app, that's not secure. How do I verify webhook signatures? See what happened there? Step by step, you figured it out while doing. If you just read the docs, you would miss out on that hands-on experience. Remember, your knowledge is 100% wasted if you can't use it when the time comes. And one clear piece of advice for you, explore other people's repositories. For example, check out the dub.sh library. It has well-written code and a well-organized folder structure. You write what you see. Now go out there and create something awesome.